great to have you here. It is Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. here in Central Time. And every Friday, I go live to invite you into my studio where we can explore spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity. Super fun. Glad to share this time with you. If you're new to this live stream or new to my website, my name is Steve Thomason. I'm a visual artist. I am a pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and I'm a professor of spiritual formation at Luther Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota, and the dean of the chapel there. And I just love art and theology and spiritual formation, mashing them all up. And what I like to do in this live stream is invite you to do some contemplative art with me. And we happen to be in the season of Advent right now. And so each week during Advent, if you don't know what Advent is, it is a season in the Christian liturgical calendar, where the whole year is like a color-coded guide to the life of Jesus and the life of the disciples of Jesus called the church. And in these 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, it's called Advent, which is Latin for meaning the arrival. And it is a time of preparation and anticipation, of waiting as we look forward to the birth of Jesus. And this thing that we have that's called the Revised Common Lectionary, we we have scripture readings every week, and they typically draw from the Hebrew prophets. And so what I like to do each week, and what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to read one of those passages for you. So if you want to get prepared for that, we're going to be looking at Isaiah chapter 12, verses 2 through 6, because that's the reading for this upcoming Sunday. And the theme for this week is joy. And I think that's an interesting theme because the book of Isaiah and most of the Hebrew prophets were writing to a people who were experiencing great distress. They were people who were being attacked by an empire. They were being invaded by armies. They were being dragged out of their homes. They were watching their cities being burned. They were taken into exile. Um, really challenging, difficult, horrific times. And even in the midst of this, they are seeking to find joy. And so here's my invitation to you today. Of course, I have no idea what's going on in your life, but my guess is that there's some aspect of your life that you might find challenging. Um, some people I know are experiencing extreme challenges right now. And no matter what it is you're going through, what I want to explore today is how we can actually find joy in the midst of that. And so I'm going to talk about that, and really less talking and more just drawing. So this is a contemplative art practice. So I invite you right now, if you want to join me in creating art, go grab your art supplies. All you need is a pencil, a pen, piece of paper. That's the minimum. Or go get your watercolors, your pastels, your oils, whatever you want to paint with. I'm going to be painting digitally because it's easy to share with you to do that. And if you're with me live, whether you're on my YouTube channel or on either my Facebook personal page or the Art Pastor page, I would love to hear from you. Let me know that you're there. So just drop a comment in the chat, and we're gonna get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just real quick. I'm going to switch over, going to pull my over the shoulder camera here, and we're going to jump into the text. I'm just going to read it once, and then we're going to dive into the painting process. So the reading for this coming Sunday, Advent number 3, one of the readings is Isaiah chapter 12, verse 2. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and will not be afraid. For the Lord God is my strength and my might. He has become my salvation. With joy, you will draw water from the wells of salvation. And you will say in that day, give thanks to the Lord. Call on his name, make known his deeds among the nations. Proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing praises to the Lord, for he has done gloriously. Let this be known in all the earth. Shout aloud and sing for joy, O royal Zion, for great in your midst is the Holy One of Israel. So that's the reading, and I invite you to dwell in that. Um, Something that's really drawing my imagination, capturing my imagination, is this phrase in verse 3: with joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. So I'm probably going to play with that in my painting. So I use an iPad app called Procreate, and it is amazing. If you're an iPad user, I highly recommend this app. So what I'm going to do is create a new canvas, and I'm going to do it on what's called a 4K square canvas, meaning 4,000 dots per inch, and um, that's a high resolution. Stephen Martin have both audio and video with good quality. Thanks. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for being there. Thanks for letting me know that it's working. And I look forward to seeing the art that you all create. All right, so here we are in the square format. And so the first thing I like to do when I'm creating a new image, also, by the way, using this Apple Pencil, which is really necessity if you're going to create images on your iPad, because it's pressure sensitive. It's fantastic. So come up here, and if I click on background, you can change the tone of the background. And so it is a neutral, since it's Advent and the season of Advent is blue, I'm going to choose this neutral blue color, and then get my sketch marker soft. Another trick, not a trick, but a tool here in Procreate is that you can actually turn on what's called the drawing guide. And I'm going to turn on my grid so that I can get a sense. So let me just show you a way to find the middle. I want to find what is the middle of my square here. And notice what I did was, if I just start my line at the corner and then end in the corner and then hold it, then it snaps it to a straight line, which is really cool. And that just tells me that that is the middle of my image. So I'm going to use that, but I'm going to come up here and hit this end button, and I can bring the opacity way down. Just wanted to find center. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that. So I swiped to the left and hit lock. And I need to turn my music on. And last week I realized my music was way too loud, so I apologize for that. So you let me know, please, if this music is too loud. But I like to have music because it's a contemplative space, just trying to settle down into a nice chill mood and mode. But I'll be talking, just explaining what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And join me if you want. Little spoiler alert, I'm going to be working with something that's called a Zentangle today. I love Zentangles. So the first thing I want to do is just play with the word itself of joy. Sometimes I just like to play with words as art. Notice that when I'm sketching, I'm just loose, you know, just kind of exploring. I'm not like that, but just moving my arm around, just letting my fingers and my hand explore the space a little bit. And let's see, I'm gonna turn my volume. The volume is up. I think I can turn my music up just a skosh so that I can hear it. Okay, so that's my, I like that. I'm gonna have that sit like that. And thinking about joy in the midst of difficult times. So I'm gonna create a dark background. But the first thing I'm gonna do is turn the opacity way down on this, and then create a new layer. I'm going to choose my gel pen streamlined, and I'm going to make it pretty thick. Now here's a really cool trick. I'm going to turn on the drawing assist. I'm going to edit the drawing assist. I'm going to go to symmetry. You can see it's half and half. And because I do want this to be nice and symmetrical, isn't that cool? That was super easy. It's got kind of an egg shape, but I want the joy to be kind of flowing upwards. So now I need to turn that symmetry, go back to my 2D grid. So then I can just go back to, whoops. But I want to turn my drawing guide off. Whoops. I want to turn my drawing assist off. See what I clicked on that layer once and I unchecked drawing assist. Because now I just want to be able to freeform. I want this the letters to feel like they're coming out of the ground. There we go. So now I have the words. Now this is going to be a cool trick that I'm going to show you here. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to turn that layer off. I'm going to touch this layer once and make it my reference layer. And then come back down here. And I want to fill this with neutral. Now notice what happens is that layer of solid is on a separate layer than the line layer. And that's really cool. That way I'm going to lock this line layer and then I won't mess up the line. And then if I take two fingers, actually no, I want to create a layer, touch this once and create clipping mask. So now on this layer, it's going to constrain itself to the shape of these letters. So anything I draw in will only be inside of there. But before I do that, I want to come down here and I want to create now, I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need these grid lines anymore. But I want to create a sense of space. And I'm going to go to this dark blue And I'm going to choose my thin natural watercolor brush and just start. First of all, I'm doing it this way instead of just doing a fill because I want some texture, because I like texture. So put some darkness in the background. Ike Ixie's Design, hello. Hello, thanks for joining. Thanks for saying hi. Let me know if you have any questions. So I'm going to put a little bit of a horizon line right at the center mark there. And then it gives just a little bit of space. It's kind of cool. I'm going to get a little bit more blue and a little bit more dark and darken up the top of this a little bit. There we go. Nice. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is this thing, I want to get into a Zentangle mode. And if you don't know what a Zentangle is, you can Google it. It's really, really fun. But a Zentangle is a really fun way to just doodle and be focused. And so the reason I want to do a Zentangle for this particular meditation is because the thing that I'm thinking about is, how do you find joy in the midst of difficult circumstances when the world just doesn't make sense? And one of the things that I like about Zentangles is that I don't know what they're going to end up looking like when I start making them. I just allow myself to experience them unfolding. Even though I am the one creating it, it's not pre-planned and it just kind of flows out of me in the moment. And I think that's part of the secret to finding joy in the midst of difficult circumstance is you just have to kind of embrace the moment. So, and if for no other reasons, Zentangles are just super fun. So if you want to join me in creating a Zentangle, I'll just show you how it's done. Now, the first thing you want to do is take your pen. I'm gonna make sure I'm on the right layer here. So I'm in clipping mask here, but if you are drawing this on paper, you can just stay inside the lines of your joy layer. As I've gotten close in here, I realized that I want to clean up my lines just a little bit. Whoops. Make that not be a reference for a moment. Oh, I know what's happening. Because that is the reference. This, it didn't fill it in because it was there. Okay, that's better. That's kind of nitpicky. All right, let's get up here, and I'm going to take black. I'm going to start with black pen. And the first thing that you do with Zentangle is you just create a loopy line, and then you just do one right next to it. You make like a ribbon across it. And then you do a second one. But when you come to your first line, you stop and you pick up your pencil and you and you do a little bit of overlap. See how that looks like it's overlapping? Yeah. So we're just going to do this for a little while. Maybe make one from this side. Again, remember, I don't know where this is going. I'm just letting it happen. I don't know if it'll look good. Just creates these really cool patterns. And I just get lost in it when I do it. And I'm choosing to use the whole word as my boundary points. Sometimes you could use each letter as a separate boundary tool if you wanted to. And there's no rules. There's really no rules at all, but as far as how many ribbons you put, that's really up to you. I feel like I need something in here. Then see, now what happens is you've got these little shapes, these little areas that you do something inside of them. You create patterns inside of them. And so I want to show you another kind of interlocking pattern that I've been playing with lately, where if you just create half circles, or semicircle ribbons, you can really create some cool interlocking rings, if you will. I just think these are really neat. And just if you just take the time to focus, and that's pretty fun, I think. And maybe I'll do another one of those up here. How you guys doing out there? Is anybody with me? Anybody doing Zentangles? I think they're pretty fun. Yeah. All right. So let's see. And again, this, I'm not pre-planning this at all. So I don't know where this is going. Whoops. Okay. So now inside of each of these little sections, you can just do different kinds of patterns. So I'm going to take my pen and make it just a little smaller, a little bit finer tip. And in this one, I'm just going to do a series of parallel lines. This one's pretty simple. And if you're in Procreate, if you just take 2 fingers, you can spread it out or pinch it to get to zoom in, spread out to zoom in, and also take 2 fingers and just, you can rotate it, you can move it around. It's really cool. And because I'm on a clipping mask, I don't have to worry about going outside the lines. So on this one, I'm just going to do some wavy lines. And I'm going to treat this whole section as one. I'm going to do circles of different sizes. Now I could cheat and use the Procreate trick of creating a perfect circle. I'll do that for one, just because. It's not cheating really. It's just using the tools that you have available to you. Just using different size circles. Pretty fun. And see what's happening now is you're getting this pattern emerging. That's pretty sweet. And I'm just using some really simple patterns here. I'm going to use the magic of Procreate for this one. Undo that because that messed up because I didn't have a closed shape there. Oh, you know what's happening? It's because I have this as the reference. It's wanting to fill that. Oh, it's using that as a clipping mask. That's why. So I'm going to switch to my medium brush. Make that a little smaller. We're just going to fill in these shapes the old-fashioned way. Which is more like you would do on paper. So I wonder what your patterns are. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Back to my streamline brush. And I want to speed this along a little bit, so I'm just gonna be using really simple patterns to fill in these shapes. If you look on my website, you'll see that I have some pretty complicated Zentangles that I've created. When it's just me and I'm actually doing real contemplation and not thinking about hosting live stream, I'll take a long time in silence and just do some really intricate work, which is super fun. But I suppose you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't find this interesting, so I hope you're enjoying that. So on this one, I'm going to do dots, solid dots of different sizes, polka dots, if you will. This is one of my favorite patterns. It's just a series of 4 lines, parallel lines. And when you alternate their direction, it gives this sense of like a overlapping tweed, which I think is pretty cool. I've seen people do these in lots of different ways. And I always think it's interesting because I think the personality of the person who's doing it comes out in how they do their Zentangle. And of course that's true, right? Because it's one of the things I love about visual art and mark making is that it's just like a signature. You can tell who did something just by the way they make the marks on the paper or the screen. Yep, you, but going with a little different direction at the moment. All right, that's awesome, Stephen. Can't wait to see what direction you're going. That wild. So cool. All right. Now here's a cool thing about mark making is just with lines, you can create a sense of gradation. So I'm doing these thick lines that are kind of close together. And then I'm going to make the lines get a little bit progressively thinner and progressively further apart. And as that happens, creates a little bit of the illusion of a gradation. So if I make these lines thicker, where there's more black, less white. There you go. That's kind of fun. A couple more patterns here, and then we're going to do some magic. We're going to do some painting. And again, I never know where these are going to go. I just kind of just do it. Just randomly choose patterns. Oftentimes create new ones as I'm going. Okay. There we go. All right. So now I've got this fun Zentangle. And so the next thing I'm going to do after I take a drink of water is I want to go ahead and put a little color into it. So I'm going to create a new layer. And see, by creating a new layer underneath a clipping mask, it automatically makes that layer a clipping mask, which is really cool. Now remember, because I'm on a neutral background, I can actually choose white. I'm going to use my thin gouache detail, and I want to go ahead and just make my ribbons a little bit white. I'm using a gouache brush, so it's not like pure. I'm not trying to make it solid white color. I just want to come in here, and I'm gonna just be a little bit loose with that. So that these ribbons stand out. Okay. And now I'm going to choose some, I think I'm going to stick in my blue palette for right now, and just throw some variations of blues and purples in, just fill in backgrounds for right now. Just to add a little bit of color to this. Again, this is just using a gouache brush. Let's come over here and make this purple. And again, because I am on a clipping mask, I don't have to worry about painting outside the lines. All right. We're just gonna play around in this part of the color wheel and see what happens. Might be getting too far out of bounds. I don't know. There's no rules. Let's swing back over here and just kind of go to a different slightly nuanced version of that blue. Pull it down into here. A little darker, a little more muted. Pull that up here. Maybe put that in here. Let's do one more purplish. That right there. And okay. So I just wanted to create this as a background. So now be sensitive to time here. I want to do two things that I think are going to be really fun. First of all, I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to group them. So now they're all in one group. I'm going to create a new layer and just want to create a solid object like that, and then create a new layer, make it a clipping mask, make it multiply, choose my airbrush, give it a little bit of dimensionality, and then also I'm going to create the effect of dripping, of drips. Which is kind of fun. And you'll see why in just a minute. So one of the things that I love about Advent is that it is it's a time when we light candles. And this is the candle of joy. So I want to pay a little homage to the candle of joy. Create another layer. And now I'm going to go to a complementary color of yellow. We're going to do a little flame action here. And going to choose my airbrush as an eraser. Get that energy in the middle. Do a little bit of a red right in here. Okay, so now that's going to have a little bit of a sharp edge to it. I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to glow a little bit, and then we're going to turn this into what's called add. Like that. I'm going to duplicate it again, and the one underneath it, we're going to do what's called overlay. And we're going to also do a Gaussian blur on that. So now we've got a little bit of a flame going here, but I also want to do another add layer. But for this one, I actually want to put it behind the candle and on top of this group. And I'm going to go to a big airbrush. This soft airbrush, because it gets really large. And notice what happens. It's so cool the way that it changes the colors around it. So you kind of get that. But then I'm going to erase it inside of the hole so that you see the darkness. So it's just affecting the joy itself. I think that's kind of cool. And then one other thing that I'm going to do is I'm also going to create another layer and call it multiply, and then use my I'll just use the airbrush. I'm going to use this blue, and I want to put a shadow behind these lines, behind these ribbons. Just to give some dimension to them. Because why not, right? And then also to put a little shadow like that. That's kind of cool. Now I'm going to do one more thing that I hope will be really cool. So I'm going to take all of these group this. This is my candle. Actually, I can just go ahead and put this, take this layer right under here, and then it becomes part of that. Now, if I select both of these, well, if I select both of these and make a new group out of those two groups, and then duplicate that group, and then I want to flatten that whole thing. Now watch what happens. I am going to flip vertically like that. And then I'm going to take my eraser you just make that disappear for a second. Do you remember my the text talked about drawing from the wells of salvation? And that really captured me. And so I thought, what if we made this into water? That'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to make a layer. Actually, this layer needs to be on top of everything. That is just my soft airbrush. I'm going to do a little magic here. It's called liquefy. And if I do just a little push, size down here. I can create ripples in the water. Which I just think is pretty cool. And then what we want to do is take this layer and make it just a little bit opaque. I mean, transparent. No, I think we just need it to be normal. Because, again, I think that we can duplicate this one, let go of it, and flatten that. Nope, I don't want to flatten it because I lose some of the glow effect when I do that. And I want to come over this layer and with just a little bit of soft airbrush, really opaque, and just darken it a little bit like that. And then with this little one, just want to make shadows in the water. Ann Wakely, very cool. Thanks, Ann. Then if I come back up here to white, then I can just keep like putting some just highlights. I'm just suggesting these highlights. Yeah. So there you go. Um, I think that's what I'm going to do for today. To finding joy in the midst of difficult times, just exploring it, trying to find out. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm just going to trust the process, because really the only way out of a difficult time is through it. And joy is a choice to trust that God is working in and through these circumstances in ways that we can't even understand, and that it is going to be okay eventually. Um, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for joining me on this Art Pastor Live every Friday. Um, Next week, we're going to look at love and see what that's all about, and we're going to get really close to Christmas. And we'll see what kind of live streaming I do during the Christmas season. Also, check out my YouTube channel. I just posted a sketchbook tour on my YouTube channel, and it has gone crazy. It's got like over 8,000 views since Saturday. I don't know what happened, but I got the right algorithm on it, and I think it's really fun. And also, artpastor.com. I post stuff all the time. Every week, I send out emails looking at the lectionary texts, visual resources, and anyway, I would love to connect with you and find out what you're doing. If you created a piece of art today with me, send it to me. Email me, steve@stevethomason.net, or message me on the Facebook, or post it somewhere and send me a link to it. And so I do this to explore spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity, so that together we can grow deeper in the love of God through Jesus Christ in the power of the Holy Spirit.